a very warm welcome to all of you. Today we will going to have the summary lecture of the chapter 17 Forest from grade 7, subject is science. Lecture number 4 we will going to start, and almost we had ended the all topics of the lecture, and I guess you must have understood and you have gone through the topics thoroughly. But if in any case you didn't understood, let me summarize the chapter again and let me know if you are having any doubt or facing any issue with the chapter. Hello children, starting with the first topic, types and size of plants. There are mainly 3 types of plants found in the nature: herbs, shrubs and the trees. Herbs are those plants, children, which have branches, leaves, flowers and the fruits. They do not have any woody tissue. For example, the field plants like paddy, jowar, bajra, etc. Next we are having shrubs. Shrubs are those plants which are of medium range, 10 to 15 meter of length. Mainly the garden plants that we are having, example, tulsi plant, lemon tree, rose plants, etc. Next we are having trees. Trees are very lengthy. Example, neem, sal, teak, etc. These trees are having very long woody branch, that is known as the main branch, that is known as the stem of the tree, with many sub branches in connection to the stem. Also it have the crown of leaves, fruits, flowers over the branches. Depending upon these 3, let's see what kind of climate we find inside the forest. So here is a picture I had drawn to show the climatic conditions and the forest conditions. Let's have a look over here. There are 3 types of plants I had drawn: the giant trees, the middle range plants and the ground plants. The giant trees, children, form a horizontal range of the crown of its branches and flowers, which is known as canopy. The middle range plant form another horizon of understories. The crown formed due to the 10 to 15 meter of range plants is known as understories. Next we are having the floor of the forest, that is formed by the herb plants, that is the shorter range plants, grasses, creepers, climbers, the dead fallen leaves, petals, flowers, twigs, branches of the trees, also the dead and decaying matter of many other organic things, form the floor of the forest, which is known as forest floor. Children, the floor of the forest is warm in nature. Why is it so? horizontal ranges, the sun rays get filtered through this and finally reaches its floor, making the conditions warm and favorable for the germination of new seedlings, new plants, new saplings. Also, whenever the animals start grazing or roam around in the forest with the help of their feet and their fecus matter, the seedlings get spread over the large area of the forest. Hence, give germination to new generation of plants and saplings. This is it for the topic. Thank you. Hello children, starting with the second topic, that is the mode of nutrition. We will going to study about the different modes with the help of which the organisms are intaking their nutrients. Okay, with the help of which they are taking their food. Fine. Mainly, there are three types: autotroph, heterotroph and saprotroph. What do you understand by autotroph, children? Autotroph is the mode of nutrition under which organism intake their nutrients by themselves. They make their own food. Example, plants, children. Plants make their own food with the help of process photosynthesis, under which they are taking the help of sunlight, carbon dioxide, nutrients and water from the soil, and in the leaves of the plant they are making their own food. Fine. So autotroph is done by plants and trees. Okay. Next we are having heterotroph, children. What do we understand by heterotroph? Heterotroph is the mode of nutrition under which organisms are intaking their nutrition depending upon other plants and animals. Means they hunt other plants, they hunt other animals for their intake of food. Fine. Like other animals and human beings. These creatures are dependent upon other plants and animals. Like, if I give one example, let's take deer, which is dependent upon plants for its food survival. If we take the example of human being, then human being is also dependent upon plants as well as on animals. You will see vegetarian as well as non-vegetarian people. Okay, so they are dependent upon whom? They are dependent upon plants and animals for their food survival. Are you getting? Okay, so here we will give the example of human beings and different animals. Say deer. Okay, after that we are having saprophytic mode of nutrition, that are saprotroph animals. Saprotroph are actually the organisms which are dependent upon dead and decaying matter of organic things. That organic thing, children, could be animal, it could be plant, anything. Fine. Example would be what? Bacteria and certain other microorganisms. Are you getting? They are very minute in size, children. They just eat the dead and decaying matters. They are dependent upon them. Fine. So what will be the example here? Bacteria. Okay. Now, under this heterotrophic, fine, we will find three more mode of nutritions. children, they are herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous. Okay. Now, starting with the first topic, what do we understand by herbivorous, children? Those animals which are eating only and only plants, like the domestic animals mainly, cows, buffaloes, goat, sheep, deer, etc. Fine. These are herbivorous, which are dependent on only plants for their intake of nutritions. The second one we are having carnivorous, children. Now what are carnivorous? Carnivorous are those animals which hunt other smaller animals for their intake of nutrients, like lion hunt the deers, like the tigers and the leopard hunt other smaller herbivorous animals, like eagle hunts the rats and rabbits. These animals actually hunt the other smaller animals for their intake of nutrients, children. So here we can give the example of lion. Then we are having the third type, that is omnivorous. What do we understand by omnivorous, children? Those animals which are having the combination of both, that is herbivorous as well as carnivorous. Okay, means they hunt plants as well as they hunt animals for their intake of nutrients. Example, human beings. We are vegetarian as well as non-vegetarians, means we are dependent upon plants also, animals also for our intake of nutrients. So here the example will be humans. Okay. So this is the main mode of nutrition that we will going to find under the different organisms, that is plants as well as animals. Autotroph, heterotroph, saprotroph. Autotrophs are the plants and the trees. Heterotroph and saprotroph are the different animals and organisms. That is heterotroph, which is dependent upon plants and animals for their intake of food. Saprotroph, which is dependent upon dead and decaying matter of organic things. Then heterotroph are again divided into three main parts: herbivorous, carnivorous, omnivorous. Herbivorous, which hunt only plants; carnivorous, which hunt only animals; and omnivorous, which hunt both for their intake of food. Thank you, children. Hello children, let's have a look at the third topic, microorganisms, decomposers. What do we understand by microorganisms, children? Those organisms which are found in microform. They are very small, very tiny. You cannot observe it through the naked eyes. Okay, they are very, very small. Example, bacteria. They are dependent upon dead and decaying matter of living things and convert it into a very dark and dense state, the decomposed state, which is known as humus. Okay, hence they are also known as decomposers. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next topic, children, food chain. Now what do we understand by food chain, children? Please have a look at the definition first. The food chain is a linear sequence of organisms through which nutrients and energy pass as one organism eats another. What is written over here, children? That the organisms are dependent upon one another for its intake of nutrients depending upon the mode of nutrition they are having, right? So here we are observing what? There are many examples I had written. Trees are written by deer, deer are written by lions. Then the plant seeds are there which are written by hens, hens are written by the human beings. Flowers are there which are written by the bees like honey bee, which is written by the insect eating birds. So it is linear in nature. Are you observing this? It is linear. Okay. And mainly what is happening over here, the herbivorous animals are eaten by the carnivorous, carnivorous are eaten by the omnivorous. Okay. And this is how the cycle of the chain of nutrients is passing on from one organism to another organism. Okay. Next topic, food web. Children, have a look over here. I'll explain it through the example. These are the food chains you are observing, right? The first food chain I had drawn, trees are eaten by deer, deer is eaten by lion. Second food chain I had drawn, flowers eaten by flies, eaten by frog, eaten by snake, that is eaten by eagle. Third food chain I had drawn, grass, eaten by grasshopper, that is eaten by insect eating birds, and that is eaten by the hawk. Hawk is a kind of bird only similar to eagle. Okay. Children, now under these three food chain, you will observe that deers are also eating the flowers. Okay. Then flies are also eaten by the insect eating birds. Then grasshopper is also eaten by the frogs. Insect eating bird also eats the snake. Okay. Then we are having lion. Lion also can eat eagle. Okay. If it catches it, it can also eat the eagle. So these things are actually interconnected if you will observe. That different food chains are also dependent among each other up to some extent. Okay, means smaller organism is eaten by the larger one. Okay, or you can say the herbivorous are eaten by carnivorous, carnivorous are eaten by the omnivorous. That kind of chain we are having over here. Fine. So this interconnection is known as a web. It is creating a web. What do we understand by web? You must have seen the spider web. Okay. That kind of web is created under the food chains. Hence, it is known as food web. Are you getting? A web of food chains that are interconnected is known as food web. Fine. Hello children, the last topic that is remaining is the importance of forest. Let's have a look over here. They are known as green lungs. What do we understand by green lungs, children? They are responsible for the intake of carbon dioxide and release of oxygen. That is fresh air. The oxygen is taken up by the human beings for their breathing. Okay. Green lungs means they are acting as a lung of air purification. They are taking in the carbon dioxide that is present in the environment surrounding and giving out the oxygen for the survival of different animals including the human being. Next, they are known as water purifying systems. Children, during the heavy rainfalls, the water is getting filtered from the different horizontal layers, that is canopy, then the understories, then it is reaching the forest floors, where it is filtered with the soil and provided as a water table under the surface of the soil, that is the upper layer of the earth, okay, which is taken up by the human beings. Okay, it is known as source of medicinal plants and woods. Children, you must have observed that the neem, tulsi, etc. plants we are utilizing in our medicine purpose, and there are many other medicinal plants which are utilized by the scientists for the formation of medicines, children. Also for the woods, like for timbers, for making different furnitures, etc., for the utilization of different sources, different products that we are having of woods, we are using the forest plants and trees. Okay, hence they are helpful there also. Next, it is known as habitat. Habitat means what? It's a residence. It's a home surrounding of what? Different plants and animals. You must have seen different size and shapes of plants are found in different regions. It depends on what, children? It depends upon the climate of that area, that what type of plant you will going to find over there. It depends on its physical entities of that region, of that forest. What kind of animals will be found over there. Everywhere you cannot find the lions. The lions are only found in particular areas. Everywhere you cannot find certain plants like sal and teak. You will only find it in certain areas. So these are actually dependent upon the physical entities of that forest area, like how is the humidity, how is the climate, about the temperature, pressure, etc. These things, when get favorable, then accordingly those plants and animals survive over there. Okay, known as dynamic living entity. What do we understand by dynamic living entity, children? Means the nutrition cycle is actually revolving continuously inside the forest. No nutrient is getting lost. Fine. The herbivorous are taken up by the carnivorous. Carnivorous are taken up by the omnivorous. Omnivorous are taken up by the saprotroph. Saprotroph again taken up by the plants. Plants again taken up by the herbivorous. So it's a revolution of cycle of nutrient. Okay, the nutrient is actually revolving from one organism to another, another to another, and hence coming back to the soil again taken up by some organism. Are you getting? So it's a dynamic thing. It's a revolutionary thing. Okay. Similarly, if you take the example of water cycle, what is happening over there? The water is taken up by the clouds with the help of evaporation process. Then it is converted into clouds. Clouds is converted with the help of rainfall. The precipitation happens. Then the precipitation again taken up by the soil. Soil again absorbs the water. Then it is taken up by the water reservoirs, the water tables under the earth. Okay, so it's a living thing. It's a living dynamic thing. Means what is happening over here? The revolutionary process of different nutrients and water is going on in the forest. No loss of nutrient is being happening over there. Last topic is they protect the soil. Means what, children? Whenever more and more plants and trees are there in any forest, the erosion of soil, okay, that is the floods and the landslides, etc. things does not happen. Why? Because the root of the trees bind the soil, bind the upper layer of the earth. Okay. So, it protects the soil. Okay. It supplies good rainfall, children. Means, whenever the higher amount of plants and trees are found under any forest, you will find a very good rainfall because the revolution of water is happening in a continuous way. Okay, nothing is getting stopped. So, it provides a very good rainfall. Fine children, so after the end of this lecture, all the questions that will be provided in the assignment work, you have to do in your classwork and show it to me. And the solution for the third lecture, we will start it up. Okay, so let's have a look at the solutions of the third lecture. The first question was, explain how forest prevent flood. Children, forest act as a natural absorber of rainwater. It allow it to seep. Okay, we had seen this in the last lecture also, that whenever the heavy rainfall happens due to the presence of horizontal ranges of the forest plants and trees, the water slowly seeps inside the ground rather than directly hitting it. When rainwater falls on the leaves of the trees and plant, it does not fall directly on the ground. It drips slowly in the forest ground and hence prevent the flood. Okay, it does not directly hit the ground, but rather than this, it falls on the trees, on the leaves, or on the branches of the plants and trees of the forest, and slowly it seeps inside the ground. Fine children, moving on to the last section of the chapter, homework portion. Children, today I am going to provide you the assignment questions of the chapter, as the chapter had got ended here. Those assignment questions will be uploaded in your WhatsApp groups. You need to go through them and you need to sort it out and submit it to me. After that, we are having the solutions for the third lecture. Very first question was, explain how forest prevent flood. Children, forest act as a natural absorber of rainwater and allow it to seep. I had told this in the last lecture also, that whenever heavy rainfall happens, due to the presence of forest, it does not directly hit the ground, but it gets stopped by the presence of crowns of different trees and plants, and ultimately it seeps slowly through the branches, through the stems of the plant inside the ground. Okay. When rainwater falls on the leaves of trees and plant, it does not fall directly on the ground. It drips slowly on the forest ground and hence prevent flood. So this was the first question. Moving on to the next question. Why should we worry about the conditions and issues related to the forest far from us? Many reasons are there, children. Very first is, if there is no forest, there would be more flood and more soil erosion. Okay, the drastic changes and the deforestation may lead to natural calamities. That is, it can bring the floods, it can bring the droughts, it can also cause the soil erosion. Forests affect the global environment. Reduction of forests lead to global warming, which affects the whole forest. Children, if there will be no tree, no fresh environment will be available, and carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide type of gases, that is the greenhouse gases, will increase in the nature, ultimately causing the global warming on Earth's surface. Deforestation can endanger the life of plant and animal species. It's true. Many species are there which are fully dependent on forest life only. So they will get endangered if we cut the trees. Deforestation can lead to non-availability of many useful products like medicine and wood. The products that we are utilizing, wood, timber, fruits, vegetable, medicines, they are all coming from the forest, plant and trees, children. So if we do deforestation, it may lead to its non-availability. Fine. Okay, children. Next question is, explain why there is a need of variety of animals and plants in the forest. Variety leads to a rich biodiversity. If there is no grass, all herbivores would die, and if there is no carnivore, all herbivore would eat up all the plant, and there is a shortage of food. So there is an ultimate chain. If we increase the number of herbivore, they will eat more and more plant. And if we increase the number of carnivorous, then there would be no herbivorous animal. Okay. So the chain of the animals, that is the food chain we call it up, is interconnected. So we should not harm any of the variety or any of the type of animal or plant. If there are no decomposers, the dead remains of the plant and animals would pollute the environment. Due to such biodiversity, a balance in nature is maintained. That is why we need the variety of plants and animals. If there will be no dead plant or no dead animal, how the decomposers will survive? And if there are no decomposers, then the dead remain of plant and animal will going to pollute the environment. Okay, they can cause the air pollution, they can cause the soil pollution, etc. So different plants and animals play a different role in the forest. There is different role which is related to the biodiversity in the forest. So we should maintain that. Moving on to the next question. The last question was almost objective type, children. That which of the following statement is not correct. So the statement was the second statement, and the statement was plants and animals in the forest are not dependent on one another. This statement is absolutely false, children, because all the time the plants and animals are dependent upon each other. So now this is the end of the chapter, children. I hope you have gone through the topics and you have understood it properly. If there is any doubt, kindly let me know. Thank you.